language interpretation. We've got a minute to the top of the hour. Now first, a look at our top stories in business today. In business today this evening, Ugandan traders at it again. The Ugandan traders in South Sudan renew call for compensation. Also, in the context of improving livelihood, Stanbic Bank warned against preventing loans to businesses. Bank of Uganda, URA and NITA Uganda pioneer utilizing tech in customer relations to ensure effective service delivery. And now we kick it off with the Suppliers Symposium. Joshua Mutambi, the Commissioner of Processing Marketing, that is for the MSME sector, plus the Ministry of Trade, Industries and Cooperatives, has warned banks against making loan applications for borrowers that take longer than necessary, because doing so prevents suppliers from the private sector from taking advantage of opportunities that could help them end poverty in various communities. Samuel Kiramunda compiled the report.
Uganda has put in place policies that support the growth of businesses in the region, but financing the private sector remains a major obstacle to creating more jobs for the most vulnerable citizens, increasing the nation's revenue and boosting the GDP. Joshua Mutambi, the Commissioner for Processing Marketing MSMEs from the Ministry of Trade and Cooperatives, warned banks about slowing down the loan application process, which has stopped enterprises in various industries from expanding and forced other borrowers to turn to money lenders.
Where you go, banks will come and tell you we have these products. But when you go there, you'll be given 8 pages. And they are written in small fonts. You have to read and understand. The language is really financial. Colleagues, the ladies that were here presenting, let's simplify the language to our customers. Because as you can see from here, I'm sure they are going to come to you straight. But they are going to be hit by meeting those 8 or 20 pages, and they already have the contracts. All they need is the money. And that's the reason why most of our business people go to money lenders.
Additionally, business and commercial clients of Stanbic Bank addressed Vincent Sekiana's concerns by taking into account performance risks and payments, which highlighted requirements that a borrower must take into account before granting him or her a loan, as well as the type of the business the borrower is willing to invest in to prevent fraud on the part of the borrower.
If you say that you're going to supply, for example, food for the hungry with cows, have you ever dealt in such business? Where are you going to get such cows and that? So that is a performance risk. Have you ever dealt or handled such a huge contract like this? In the past, what contract have you held? It's all looking at the capacity, or will you perform, because we don't want to give you the money and before you know it, you fail, and they also fail to pay you, and before you know it, we are looking for you pay, and the interest keep accruing. So we want to do our due diligence. Are you in position to perform the LP or the contract you're given? Then if that is a tick, we come to now, who is your employer? Food for the hungry. By the reason of fact that we are here, they are credible employers, and by the time we've dealt with them, they have been paying on time. So don't worry about the employer bit. If it's food for the hungry, it is already a tick there on our pre-qualified list. But the question will come to you, are you in position to perform that contract? So if those two things actually are a tick, then why don't we give you the money?
Speaking with Alex Dong, the Director of Programming for Food for the Hungry, he explains that the purpose of the Supplier Symposium is to raise awareness and sustainability in the public and private sector so that they can add value to their products, close funding gaps for projects, and deal with some of the challenges that they are facing in various areas.
Supplier Symposium is to ensure that we create awareness, especially among the private sector, that even in ending poverty, be it in Uganda or globally, they are an important component of ending poverty. But not only ending it, but also sustaining some of the interventions we implement. And one of the things which is critical in sustainability is how do you create linkages in, for example, the interventions you've done, and how can the private sector add value to them to move them beyond the project funding. At the end of the day, when we're evaluating the different companies to participate in our bids, which we really advertise, we evaluate them, and we evaluate them according to their portfolio and the capacity. And financing is a critical component and which the private sector faces, but it's important to share those linkages. How can they link up with the financial institutions to be able to get financing? The other critical challenge the private sector faces is reaching the last mile communities. As Food for the Hungry, we work some of the hardest places in this country. One of the critical hardest places is Karamoja, and the private sector in Karamoja is not well developed. And that's a critical challenge for those communities to get services. So that's one challenge the private sector faces. But what we are saying is FH has an advantage. We have those long-term catalytic relationships with the communities out there. So how do we ensure that we partner with the private sector and bring their services closer to the community? So it's a win-win situation. So FH, because of their relations with the community, brings the private sector to the last mile communities or the hard-to-reach communities.
More partnerships are needed to collaborate and ensure that private sectors are financed in order to develop businesses and create jobs for youths across the country in order to tackle the funding crisis. Andrew Babrije, Samuel Chirimonda, Smart 24, Business Today.
And now we turn our focus on increasing household income of Ugandans. National Resistance Movement Party is yet to have a 10-day retreat to reflect on getting the Ugandans out of advanced poverty. Now, speaking to the media today, the government chief whip has stressed out the focus of the retreat is mainly increasing household income for all Ugandans. We have details.
The NRM Parliamentary Caucus retreat, which is starting on the 27th of this month in Chankwanzi, comes at such a time when the country is experiencing gun violence, suicidal cases, among others. According to the government chief whip, the purpose of this is to see that household income is enhanced among Ugandans because they have introduced programs which they are certain will get the 39% of Ugandans out of poverty.
The theme of this retreat focuses majorly and primarily on household income, wealth creation, socio-economic transformation, the role of the leaders. And His Excellency the President will be at the National Leadership Institute Chankwanzi full-time, will deliver the keynote address on 28th of May 2023.
The opposition, on the other hand, has insisted that government has introduced so many programs to eradicate the masses from poverty, but none has so far worked because the policy of giving cash to people has never worked anywhere.
We were totally against giving out handouts to people, because we've never seen a country that has economically transformed itself through such things. What we know is that there are things that drive capital, that drive the economy. Energy. If the cost of energy comes down, production increases. So we were looking at actually working on the factors of production. Let the price of electricity come down. Let the price of fuel come down. Let us have very good roads. Let us reduce the tax on some of these goods so that, the affordability increases.
Honorable Obua on the issue of cash says it's true no country has done it yet so far, but as the NRM, they believe that it is the most effective because the Myoga project has so far brought in good news and they are confident about parish development model.
If you are talking about the Indian model using tractors, we are there. This particular one, it is first of all the first of its kind. I do not know any country with the parish development model approach. First time that a government is sending money to the third or fourth lowest unit. Because when you talk about a Myoga targeting 18 groups per constituency, a constituency is the fourth lowest administrative unit. After a village, to a parish, to a sub-county, is the constituency. Our major focus has always been using the district local government cities and the rest. But now we are decentralizing further to where these 39% of our population are.
Honorable Patua, however, advises government and the NRM party that instead of dishing out money to Ugandans, they should consider taxing the rich instead, because Ugandan economy depends on little taxes from a few Ugandans.
You can see a country that has policies where it's the poor to look after the rich. Somebody comes with a huge factory and is exempted. Somebody is selling by the roadside, is expected to pay money, is expected to buy the basic goods this person can't do away with, like kerosene, some food items, is expected to pay them with a tax. A pamper, you're expected to use it with a tax. You get it. So it is now the poor who are looking after the rich, and the poor is poor. What that person has is little as it is. That's why our tax is small. Our tax can't sustain the economy simply because we've let the poor person take care of the entire country.
A section of NRM legislators say they need the retreat because most of them do not really understand parish development model in detail, and the retreat is an opportunity for them to understand it fully.
As you know that Uganda is not yet in middle income status, this is the right time to see the 39% of our people who are still in a poor state, who are still poverty state, who needs assistance from we, the leaders, and the government at large. And to me, I believe this is the best way to go, because once such retreats are there, they will help our members of parliament, especially NRM members of parliament, also to understand what PDM means. Because even our colleagues, they don't know PDM. Some of them, they don't support, they don't know. But some of us who know, we really see that this is the right opportunity to sit down and analyze and plan with the head of the state and the party leaders to know why, as NRM party, we have to be on the ground and sensitize our people about government programs, especially parish development model, which will chase poverty out of our people.
As the NRM party is getting ready for a 10-day retreat, which is going to mainly focus on enhancing household income, the opposition, on the other hand, insists that handing cash to people is a mistake that government needs to revisit. Samlanifa, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
Now moving on, Ugandan traders have renewed their demands to Parliament seeking compensation of $14 million. That is 52.2 billion Ugandan shillings from the government for the losses they incurred during the armed insurgency in neighboring South Sudan. Through their chairman, Rashid Manafwa, they seek the President of Uganda, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, and Salva Kiir of South Sudan to pronounce on this matter as urgently as possible. We have details.
Leaders of the Joint Action for the Redemption of Ugandan Traders in Southern Sudan have once more made their demands to Parliament, demanding compensation of $14 million, that's 52.2 billion, from government for damages they suffered as a result of the armed conflict in the neighboring Southern Sudan. They say that to date, except for a new companies that were able to selectively secure their payment from government of Uganda, the majority of the companies and individuals that had not been cleared remain unattended to.
We seek the President of the Republic of Uganda, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, and Salva Kiir to pronounce themselves on this matter as urgently as possible. Number two, we seek a response, guidance, and appropriate response from the Parliament of Uganda.
What do I bring to you? If government could be able to compensate 10 companies $56 million, why can you pay 160 people less than 50?
In May 2019, the 10th Parliament approved 900 billion shillings to compensate 33 companies which supplied goods and services to the government of Southern Sudan between 2008 and 2010. However, only 10 companies have so far been compensated.
These people are weakened. They no longer have money. They can't go to afford the shoots in court. And yet the Parliament has already done the massive work. They have dug deep into this. A committee of Parliament has gone there more than 4 times. The Minister of Finance has gone there more than 5 times to follow up on the same matters. When they come back, the efforts die under the tables. And finally this year, this committee headed by Honorable Mwiru, is it Mpaka of Mbarara Municipality North, promised that this was now a final round because he called all of us. We submitted all claims, all evidence, and it now said we are tabling before the plenary. So many months down the road, he is even now changed from being the chairman of the committee before he even presented the matter before the plenary. Now people who had developed some little hope are now losing it out.
The 160 traders and their umbrella body, Joint Action for the Redemption of Ugandan Traders in Southern Sudan, lost their goods and now want the two presidents' interventions. Benson Mumbere, Smart 24 TV.
And now let's talk domestic tourism. In a bid to promote domestic tourism and enable full recovery of the entire sector, the Ministry of Tourism, Wildlife and Antiquities has launched Explore North, a 5-day campaign set to boost the entire tourism sector. Martha Nimsima has reports.
As the tourism sector is still recovering from the negative impact of the COVID-19, various tourism sectors are being renovated in order to increase tourism activities around them, and this will help the sector attract more direct and foreign investment. Through ensuring deployment of market destination representatives in core and emerging markets, the country's tourism sector is seen to thrive more in the coming years.
You can see that government is trying to do some developments. When we were in Western Uganda, you saw a bit within the culture where we had done a bit of Mugawa Palace. But even this financial year, they're coming on. I want to thank government for the support. If you know the source of the Nile, we're going to do some development there, including a pier that can park around 19 boats. We'll have a viewing deck. We'll have a few other establishments along the source of the Nile. It won't be the final completion of the project, but it will be a starter. If you look at what we are planning for Action Falls going forward, if you look at what we are doing in Rwenzori, the boardwalks, the two camps that we are setting up, if you look at what we are going to do at Uwek. So there are a number of things that we are doing in terms of, first of all, product development. Second of all, marketing as well, beyond only, because what we are doing now is targeting mainly the domestic market. But of course, we know that the biggest player should be the foreign market. In 2024, we should be able to hit at least 1.3, 1.5 million visitors and maybe the $1.5 billion. It's our prayer.
Communication and infrastructure are some of the drivers of domestic tourism, for they help in dissemination of information and ensuring comfort of tourists, hence staying for longer hours. These platforms will provide information about the country's diverse attractions, including national parks, wild reserves, cultural sites, historical landmarks, and adventure activities.
For any tourism to happen and to occur successfully, you need accommodation, you need facilities. And of course, you need the infrastructure like, transportation and so on. First, the issue of the road has been sorted majorly to most of the protected areas. Of course, there are also areas in Western Uganda, especially the Gorilla area, where the roads are not so good, and also the nature and the terrain makes these roads not last long. So there is a bit of a challenge. But generally, most roads to protected areas are okay. Now, that's one form of infrastructure. Of course, people need to communicate. The telecom sector, we are still improving.
As the tourism sector expects to fully recover by 2024, campaigns like Explore East, West and the North are some of the key strategies set to boost domestic tourism. Through promoting different regions within the country and highlighting the unique offerings of each region, such as scenic coastal areas, historical landmarks, vibrant cities, or the picturesque countryside. By showcasing the diversity, the campaigns generate curiosity and interest among potential travelers.
We're off to go to the north next week. So far, we have numbers that we do not know how to control, but of course we always find a way. So this means that people are more interested this time. According to what they have seen before, we explored the east, we explored the west. It was fantaglorious, and this time we know it is going to be bigger and better. We said we are going to be stopping at every tourist attraction along the northern corridor. Every tourist attraction. So even those that you do not know, there are many monuments, there are many museums that have come up along the way. And of course, we are going to visit Aru Falls, we are going to visit... I do not want to unpack the package. Guys, come with us. The expectation is higher than the other campaigns.
I talked about, we are here to support recovery of tourism. By 2024, we expect 100% recovery of the sector. Right now, we're at a bit about 65%. And campaigns like this will definitely take us to full recovery. I'm happy to mention, just like our Honorable Minister has mentioned, that 2 in every 10 jobs are for tourism. I am looking forward to a day when we'll have 5 in every 10 jobs, coming up to tourism. And that gives us a lot of work to do. So
as the country strives to engage local communities in tourism development, empowering them to participate actively, benefit directly, and preserve their cultural traditions. Involving local communities, Uganda ensures that tourism generates positive socio-economic impacts such as job creation, income generation, and community development. Martha Nimsima, Smart 24 GOTV Business Today.
Elsewhere, we look at automated client service. Well, earlier today, Bank of Uganda and other stakeholders pioneered efforts in utilizing regulations and technology to enhance customer service through a transformative initiative. Bronia Katusime has details.
Since the introduction of mobile banking and online transactions, typical client wait time has decreased by 60%. Government organizations are adopting automation to improve citizen services in an increasingly digital age where ease and efficiency are key factors. Bank of Uganda has taken a brave step toward leveraging technology's capacity to enhance customer service.
There is no manual intervention between the systems, and these are encrypted to ensure that what is sent and what is delivered is accurate, and there is no intervention in there. Now, this is an automatic process, and on the other hand, the Bank of Uganda systems as well do read and analyze these things, batch up the payments, and transfer them to the clearinghouse.
Utilizing technical advancements, it has collaborated with government organizations like NITA and URA to provide cutting-edge digital solutions. With the help of these technologies, service providers will be able to log in with information on clients' accounts and execute transactions easily. This information will include location, personnel, experience, and certification. By utilizing this technology, the bank has drastically cut down on paperwork, waiting times, and overall client satisfaction.
The days of building standalone systems in every institution are gone. And the days of moving around with paperwork to get a signature here and there or to get a service through different offices are gone. So the idea of the UG Hub is to bring together all our systems so that they can speak to each other. And the UG Hub is the central hub. It's the rails that allow our different systems to communicate to each other easily. And so it's a very good initiative, but we have to work together to realize the value streams that must run through.
One might say, I want to do consultancy. One might say, I want to operate a data center. Another might say, I just want to supply computers. And others might say, I have qualification in ISO standards. I want to offer information security assurances and systems. So for all of them, depending on their levels, and I'm happy to note, because some people say, but you see, we don't have the monies to pay because you have to pay for this. They have to pay for this. The lowest level for a startup, for example, is 70,000 shillings. So there is actually an environment that has been created for everybody to be able to certify.
Through a combination of robust regulations and cutting-edge innovations, established standards ensuring automation implementation is secure and transparent. This fosters trust and protects consumers while promoting innovation and competition in the financial sector.
The main reason for these innovations in payments and serving government is actually financial inclusion. To ensure that the citizen, as far as possible, the pensioners, the servicemen, wherever they are in the field, can receive their due payments. Let it be pension and whatever, or salaries that they are. So the purpose is to remove the bottlenecks of people not being paid, let's say, in taking a long time to get paid.
Bank of Uganda's proactive approach by harnessing power of regulations and technology, it will not only improve efficiency, but also increase customer satisfaction and security. Bronya Katsime, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
Meanwhile, now we do take a short commercial break, but we return with more business today, so stick around with us. Smart 24, driving business.
Cooking oil like no other makes your meal so sweet and scrumptious. The taste of Uganda. Yeah, the taste of Uganda. The taste of Uganda.
He must be rich, tall, handsome, from a respectable family. He must have a maid because at our home we do not work.
Conductor Masao.
Owa, obadde olobye ku ssimu?
Yamunange, anti yo TV enkolera.
Nyumirwa omulembe omupya ogujjudde ebisanyusa omuli emikutu gya TV egisukka mu 8 n'egya radio nga kwotadde ne zifirimu ng'osinziirira wonna w'oli. Genda mu App Store oteeke app ya GOTV channels ku ssimu yo olwo onyumirwa ennaku 3 ng'olabira bwereere ewatali kozesa data.
GOTV channels. Luxury redefined at Seasan Hotel as you indulge in the splendor of elegant living fit for the royalty that you are. Step into comfort, pampering and blissful customer-centric service as you select from our range of comfy, exquisite living quarters furnished to meet with your royal preference. Surrounded by scenic beauty, our tropical setting allows you to escape the glamorous ordeal of city life. Our ambient green gardens will guide you to a place of revitalizing rest. The 3-star restaurant caters to your palate, serving your choice menu ranging from exotic cuisines to local delicacies. Our chefs will serve you full course meals for a truly out-of-this-world culinary experience. Our fully stocked bar to whet your throat, from renowned global brand whisks, brandies, gins, beers and wines to our locally celebrated beverages, you will not lack for any brewage. It's an all-new experience in the East at Seasan Hotel. So visit today at plot 15 to 19 Spire Road, Ginger, or contact us on +256 751 719 960 and +256 785 354 614 for reservations. Seasan Hotels, luxury redefined. Smart 24, driving business. We'll be back from the break. You're still watching Business Today. Jerome Paul Sonko with Winnie Beans and Akauchi on for sign language.
Now, the Insurance Regulatory Authority met with CEOs of insurance companies, insurers and significant industry players in an effort to emphasize the significance of strong corporate governance within the insurance sector. This meeting served as a timely reminder for stakeholders to uphold ethical practices, transparency and accountability in their operations. Nahabe Rona reports.
The Insurance Licensing and Government Regulations 2020 requires under Regulation 14 that licensed insurers, reinsurers or health maintenance organizations at all times have a minimum of 5 directors, at least half of whom are residents in Uganda, which is very important in making decisions that meet the Ugandan context. The Insurance Regulatory Authority CEO underscores that the changing regulatory landscape needs specific focus on corporate governance.
On the compliance side of it, and you note that there are some things where we have managed to achieve 100%, but there are some other lines where we are at 85% and some others at 76%. We note that the deadlines for complying with the various provisions on corporate governance, some of them have already expired. Others are expiring in the next month of June. And we have one which is expiring in 2025. And that is on the actuarial and risk officers, which must be complied fully in 2025. But we have agreed on the roadmap to compliance.
It is also worth noting that effective 1st July, physical filing of returns for companies under the regulatory authority will cease, shifting to online transactions for more efficiency and faster transactions.
As company or insurance broker, it is going to be computing all solvency margins. And solvency margins means how strong the company is so that it can take on more businesses. And this will assure the insuring public that this company cannot collapse because someone is not watching what is going on. The second issue, as I already reported, up to now, we are ending May, but I have not released the 2022 performance of the industry. This is because we are depending on the manual submission of audited accounts. When we have a regulatory software in real time, as the year ends, I'll be in position to tell people the performance of the entire industry.
Consequently, the low trust and credibility stemming from poor corporate governance act as barriers to wider adoption of penetration of insurance, limiting the industry's ability to fulfill its critical role in providing financial protection and risk management to individuals and businesses alike. This perhaps justifies the reason as to why the insurance penetration is still as low as 1%, as the CEO of the Uganda Insurers Association confirms.
We are only covering about 1% of the population. Now, I will tell you that the 99% that we are not covering is probably out of formal employment.
Deadlines are set for key personnel to attain necessary qualifications needed to do their job very well to demonstrate relevance in the industry. Rena Habwe, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
Well, Uganda is preparing for population census 2024, and in August 2023, Uganda is scheduled to conduct a nationwide population census that will provide the government with information on how many people they should plan for. The third Deputy Prime Minister, Right Honorable Rukia Nakadama Isanga, claims that since the census will be carried out via an electronic system, significant investment is needed to make it possible. Samuel Kirumunda compiled the report.
The Uganda Bureau of Statistics has requested an additional 336 billion shillings from the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development to purchase tools and equipment that will help them conduct a successful population census. For these operations, 174 billion shillings have already been set aside in the fiscal year 2023-2024. Speaking to the third Deputy Prime Minister and the Minister with that portfolio, meanwhile, praises the necessity of a census in order to give the government the information it needs to allocate enough funding for the population.
Ogenda okulaba nga mugenda okutuuka mu districts ezimu nga baziwadde ssente ntono nnyo nga temumanyi bantu balimu. Ezimu nga babawadde ssente empitirivu nnyo ng'era lwakuba nti abantu abalimu bayinza okuba nga walimu obutali kubalibwa bulungi.
There are some districts where they allocate little money because they do not know the number of people in those districts. Other districts get a lot of money and they do not count them properly. And obviously, every 10 years, Uganda conducts a census.
Amos Lugolobi, the State Minister for Finance, Planning and Economic Development, reveals that in the next financial year 2023-2024, Parliament of Uganda allocated 174 billion to cater for these activities, but still more funding is needed.
Tulaze mu budget twetaaga muwendo gwonna wamu obuwumbi nga 336. Obuwumbi obwo mu nsambuna wa mwaka gw'ebyensimbi ogujja budget yayisiddwa mu Parliament.
336 billion is needed for the entire exercise. 174 billion were approved by Parliament in the next financial year. The Uganda Bureau of Statistics has little money and they need to purchase gadgets since the population census will be digital. Additionally, the director for Uganda Bureau of Statistics, Chris Mugisha, says that the previous years they have been using old technologies which have not been effective, leaving other areas unaccountable. Dr. Chris Mugisha applauded the use of the new digital technology to simplify the work.
We are at the tail end of the financial year. 194 billion, out of which I don't know whether the whole of it has not been funded. We need to make a serious commitment within the next few days so that this money is found. I want, through you, the Right Honourable Prime Minister, to appeal that this matter is raised to the Constitutional Minister of Finance, who is also the President of this Republic. He is pro this. This is very important. If we are to plan and provide services for Ugandans and for the people in Uganda, we need to know the number accurately.
Uganda conducts a population census every 10 years so far. The country stands at 34.6 population following the last data in the 2014 with 51% female. Children below 18 years were at 55%. Fertility rate was at 5.8 children per woman, and infant mortality deaths 53 deaths per 1,000 live births. Uganda's population is projected to double the population due to the increasing birth rate within the country. On to Barije, Samuel Cherimunde, Smart 24, Business Today.
All right, now, yesterday the State Minister for Education reassured Ugandans that there are no programs that are expired and that most of all these programs have been approved by the National Council for Education. Now, despite the minister's reassurance, Ugandans continue to worry about the state of their degrees and various qualifications. Samla Hanifa and Honorable Tebandeke Charles spoke privately to get further details on this matter.
Thank you very much. It is very heartbreaking for you to go to campus, spend 4 years or 3 years or 2 years, you do your course, and then after a document comes up on social media saying that your course has expired. I'm joined by Honorable Tebandeke Charles, who is going to clarify on the issue of expired courses. Honorable, you are welcome.
Thank you.
Honorable, the question is, do courses expire? Why would we study something that expires? Please, clarity to our viewers.
Actually, it's not true that the courses have expired. I've also just seen on social media a notice from Cambridge University, that contemplating that the courses for very many universities in Uganda have expired. But I think that is wrong. We cannot have a course expiring when the National Council for Higher Education still has the content, which content is embedded within the curriculum that education institutions have to conduct. It's not true that education institutions like universities, colleges, schools just go from nowhere and they get that content to teach. So that content to teach is embedded within the curriculum, and the curriculum our syllabuses are confined within. So there is no any syllabus that is not confined within the curriculum. And there is no any content that is not confined within the syllabus. And there is no any lesson plan or scheme of work that can be exhibited that is not in line with the syllabus. So most of the universities here have been teaching the same content. Even during the time before the courses expire, if I'm to say, the content has not changed. So if they taught someone law or business administration or education in the year 2017 or 2016 or 2010, the psychology which is studied in education is still the same psychology which is being taught up to date. So those are allegations to say that the degrees have expired, the universities are, the degrees cannot expire when certificates are inexistent. And the degrees cannot expire when the universities are teaching. And the universities cannot teach when the National Council for Higher Education has not quitted them with the syllabus content from the curriculum. The issue which is speculating and saturating around, I think is similar to when you have a bar or a hotel or a shop and your annual trading license expires or your worker permit expires. It doesn't mean that your bar has expired or your hotel has expired from service or you are not going totally to perform. And it doesn't mean that for those clients whom you sold the commodities to at expiration of your trading license or worker permit, that they are convicted. They can't be convicted in any way or the other. What is required is for you to go under regulations and make your worker permit or trading license clear. So that's what the education institutions have to undergo and do. Then, should that be done, then there will be no any other query. For me, I think as Uganda experience of work, people are always doing things in a mafia way, in a gambling way. So institutions might have forgotten their responsibilities to meet the clearances. So that's why maybe the Cambridge University is mandating them and throwing a stone into the bush to see that they evaporate, they come out quickly and meet the payments and all those irregularities to be cleared.
Honorable, now what explains the rejection of Ugandan degrees abroad, in UK to be specific? Because Ugandans have studied, those who have taken their qualification and then rejected.
No, for how long has it happened? So if it is happening within this era of the scandal, then it means it is a call for those specific institutions to come up and clear. If it was a case, then it means that the entire education system in Uganda at higher levels must be scrapped and must end immediately and also, which cannot happen. Because even those specific countries have learners here, they have students here, international students, who are studying and learning from within here, and more so from our content, curriculum, and syllabus. So I don't think such an allegation is right. It is a false one. It is entitled to investigation and maybe to make some other corrections of where a mess went about.
So, Honorable, you're telling me that courses actually do not expire. So what is this document that is circulating on social media?
Courses do not expire. What would expire is the content.
The content.
Within the syllabus and the curriculum that is being taught. And that content is determined by National Council for Higher Education, if I'm to repeat. It is not the Cambridge University that determines the content here. Okay. The curriculum content for Uganda is completely different from the curriculum content of USA, of England, of Kenya, of Tanzania, though we might be having some components of a comparative study where we can compare the geography of Uganda to that of America, the do's, the don'ts, the coons, and any other. But the syllabus cannot expire really. If you say a syllabus is expiring, it beats my understanding. It does not hold any water. Neither does it hold any sense. Because expiration of a syllabus will tantamount to expiration of the content. And so if the content is still the same that is being taught, then the syllabus is on and is ongoing and cannot be terminated in any way or the other. So I just want to encourage most of the learners. Some have got puzzled, some think they cannot even waste time to go to schools. No, this is a very, let me put it clear to a native example, a local example for whoever is viewing us. It is like when you are having a school, and that school you are teaching learners, and you are licensed to operate in Uganda, and that license is liable to renewal, and maybe it has expired, and now you have not yet renewed. It doesn't mean that you need to close that school. You just need to go to the district or to the ministry and renew that license, then you continue. And if in your school you had the P7 that sat last year, and you are still teaching more other pupils in P7, and your license expired last year, it doesn't mean that these people who are studying, you must expel them. And it doesn't offend those who studied last year that they got certificates from a school that operated without a license. No. The clients are third parties, and they are not liable to the consequences of the first party. So those are administrative issues, challenges, problems, which the administrators of respective institutions need to go and settle.
Honorable, there are so many courses that, whose license has expired. And what if the universities do not have the money to renew the license of these courses? What happens to the people who want, the students who want to do perhaps those courses, or those who have completed those courses?
What I know, like I looked at the notes, it was almost outlining all the courses offered in Uganda.
Exactly, yeah.
So it would imply Ugandans are not liable to attend any course of study. However, what I know, let me give this another local lively example. If you are operating a school, maybe P7, and your P7 does not have a UNEB center, and you are teaching P7 class, or maybe you have been teaching P7 class with a UNEB center, and maybe you are convicted of an offense, or due to lack of raising a number that is required, and they scrap that UNEB center from you. It does not mean that these pupils who are studying within that school, they are going to meander and loiter around and lack a way to fit. So it's better you teach your P7 pupils, and next to a school which has got a UNEB center, they sit and they get their transcripts within the name of the neighboring school.
Oh, now
that's
I understand.
What it will mean. So now, for the case of Uganda, my only worry is, like I said, most of the courses I saw, almost they claim they have expired. So it means we may not have any other university that is conducting any other profession as of now.
Honorable, my university is not there.
Like which one?
St. Lawrence.
Yes, that's what I was explaining, that if there is any other university whose name is unmentioned on the list, then it's better these universities teach their learners, then they do exams from that specific university that still holds a license.
Oh, Honorable, now I understand. So, Honorable, there's this, lastly, there's this that has come up that some courses taught at university, especially Makerere, public service does not recognize them, and students graduate, and after they cannot enroll, they can't be employed by government because public service does not recognize those certain courses. How do we help such Ugandans or such students? Because I don't understand, how can public service be in charge, rather reject some of the courses that are being studied at universities?
No, I would think that Makerere, being a public university, is strictly in line with the supervision of government institutions and authorities. So now, if Makerere goes ahead and conducts professions or courses that are expired according to National Council for Higher Education, then it must be sued in court.
Exactly.
Yeah, because how can you be a father and you bring home food that is poisonous? It is tantamounting to treason. That is murder. Because you are killing the learners, these children, these students' future. Whoever goes at school is in a streamline of the future and has objectives and target to fulfill. And he is paying money. Therefore, you are obtaining money by false pretense.
Exactly.
You are obtaining money from your client, but not serving him subsequently with what he's supposed to get. So that issue is similar to some principles of finances, where we mainly determine the demand and the capacity to demand.
Now, Honorable,
the two match together.
Honorable, whose problem is that? Is that university?
That is, first of all, a problem for the university and administrators, and also a problem for National Council for Higher Education and the entire Ministry of Education.
Exactly.
Because as the education process moves, ministry has to supervise these education institutions. That's why we have inspectors. That's why we have the permanent secretaries. Even at lower level, we have inspectors and the DEO. Therefore, if a school A goes deep into the village and teaches the content that is abstract to our syllabus and the curriculum content, then that is treason. If a school goes down and gives content about homosexuality, which is and teaches learners how to do homosexuality, which is an offense in Uganda, then such institution is liable to conviction. And if the ministry does not take its role of supervising and monitoring these institutions, then it is to their blame, and we cannot go ahead and convict the parents or the learners. Therefore, for me, I would call on all Ugandans and all parents who might undergo under the same circumstances in respective universities to organize themselves and sue such institutions into courts of law, because they know what they are doing is unmarketable, is an offense. Maybe it is scrapped out of the syllabus. Why should you teach the content that is abstract to the syllabus of Uganda? Then that's an offense. It's unheard of. It's a taboo actually, and whoever does it does an omission, which is that tantamounts to treason or murder.
Thank you so much, Honorable Tebandeke. Oh, to those Ugandans whose courses were listed in the document that circulated on social media, hold your guns, hold your horses. there is hope that actually your course you studied and you graduated, your courses are not expired. Thank you so much.
All right, many thanks, Samla Hanifa, for that. Now, Congo is aiming higher in the Siko mines. The Democratic Republic of Congo has announced its intention to at least increase its stake in the controversial cobalt and copper joint venture with Chinese firms known as Siko Mines. Now, the Congolese government seeks to raise its share from at least 70% of the concerns that the original agreement is did not provide the sufficient benefits to the country. Now, they want to increase their shares from 32% to 70% of the same.
The Democratic Republic of Congo, the world's leading producer of cobalt and fourth largest producer of copper, aims to assert greater control over its valuable mineral resources. President Felix Tshisekedi's government has taken steps to increase the country's stake in the Siko Mines joint venture, which is currently dominated by Chinese firms. This move comes after concerns were raised regarding the disproportionate distribution of benefit from the $6 billion infrastructure for minerals agreement. President Tshisekedi ordered the establishment of a commission in March to thoroughly review the Siko Mines contract and propose necessary changes. The commission, comprising representatives from the State Auditor, General Inspection of Finance, and the state-owned mining company, Geka Mines, has identified key reasons why the deal should be renegotiated. The commission discovered that the original negotiations did not account for the significant value of the reserves at the mine. The reserves, estimated to be worth a staggering $90.9 billion, were not appropriately considered during the initial agreement. Recognizing this oversight, the Congolese government seeks to rectify the situation and secure a fairer distribution of the mineral wealth. The Democratic Republic of Congo's desire to enhance its stake in the Siko Mines joint venture represents a concerted effort to exercise greater control over its significant mineral resources. Felix Tshisekedi pays a visit to Beijing. The government wants more equitable division of benefits from the partnerships due to problems it has with the initial agreement and the undervaluation of minerals. These negotiations will have a bigger impact on the DRC as well as the international supply networks for vital minerals utilized in many different industries.
All right, now that's it for business today. And now let's have a recap of our top stories. In business today this evening, Ugandan traders at it again. The Ugandan traders in South Sudan renew call for compensation. Also, in the context of improving livelihood, Stanbic Bank warned against preventing loans to businesses. Bank of Uganda, URA and NITA Uganda pioneer utilizing tech in customer relations to ensure effective service delivery. All right, now that's it for business today. I've been Jerome Paul Sonko with Winnie Wins and Akauchi on for the sign language interpretation. 3 minutes to the top of the hour. Till tomorrow, wish you all the best for the evening. From the entire newsroom, production, and of course the editorial here at Plot 42 Nile Avenue, it's a good evening and a good night.
Up next on Smart 24 TV.
Smart 24, drive